Almost every Robin has won the costume, but only one of them is truly the best Batman. Today we're ranking every Robin, their skills, their flaws, and their history to finally answer the question fans have debated for decades. Which Robin would make the best Batman? We're breaking down everything that matters: detective skill, combat ability, leadership, moral code, their relationship with Gotham, psychological stability, and their actual time wearing the cowl across canon and Elseworld stories. And make sure you stick around because the Robin who comes out on top might surprise people, but the evidence is impossible to ignore. We'll start with the son of the Bat, Damian Wayne. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Damian Wayne is easily the most well-trained Robin, raised by Talia and sharpened by Ra's al Ghul's League of Assassins, fathered and mentored by Batman, and guided by every Robin that came before him. Damian is a prodigy, a living weapon engineered for war. Where other Robins became heroes, Damian was built for the mission from birth. And when it comes to pure technique, Damian might be the closest thing to a perfect Robin. But perfection has a cost: detective skill. Damian is sharper than what most people give him credit for. He learns fast, he studies even faster, and he's been solving puzzles since childhood. But he's impulsive, jumps to conclusions, and solves problems with the answer he wants instead of the answer he needs. Combat ability. Combat is where Damian is unmatched almost. Swords, blades, hand-to-hand, stealth, mobility. He's elite in every category. In pure fighting skill, he might actually surpass Bruce one day, but we typically don't get to see that far into Damian's story. And one thing that he has over Dick and Tim is that he knows how to kill if he needs to. Leadership. This is complicated. Damian isn't a bad leader. In fact, he leads with absolute confidence. But confidence without patience becomes arrogance. And arrogance gets people hurt. We've seen him lead the Teen Titans, we've seen him issue orders to the Bat family, and he can command a room, but he struggles to inspire long-term trust. Moral code. Damian's biggest battle isn't with villains, it's with himself. He wants to honor Bruce's no-kill rule, but his first instinct is always lethal. He tries to be better, but that darkness is always right behind him. I think in this category, he and Jason are very similar. Relationship with Gotham. This is where Damian definitely falls short on the list. The only one of the characters on this list that was not raised and trained in Gotham. It feels like maybe he's yet to establish much of an identity within the city himself, given he typically carries the identity of those who came before him. Psychological stability. This is the real issue. Damian carries trauma from his upbringing and struggles to relate to others. He's constantly fighting the version of himself he was raised to be. Legacy impact. Here's the thing, Damian has been Batman. In the iconic Batman number 666 future timeline, Damian grows into a harsh, brutal, borderline supernatural Batman who keeps Gotham alive through sheer willpower. He's effective, he's terrifying, he's unstoppable, but he's also proof of the problem. Damian can absolutely become Batman, but sometimes he becomes a Batman that Gotham should fear. Verdict on Damian. Damian is the most dangerous Batman candidate. The one with the highest ceiling, but maybe the lowest floor. The one who could surpass Bruce in sheer capability, but also the one most likely to walk too close to the edge. He's a phenomenal weapon, but Batman isn't just a weapon. Batman is a symbol, and Damian still struggles with what that symbol requires. We move on to Jason Todd, and I've always just been a huge Jason Todd fan, got a soft spot for the character. If Damian is the prodigy, Jason Todd is the survivor. Jason wasn't trained by assassins. He wasn't trained from birth. He was a kid stealing tires off the Batmobile who clawed his way into the Robin mantle through grit, anger, and sheer willpower. And every part of that history shapes the kind of Batman he becomes. Detective skill. He's not Tim and he's not Bruce, but he knows the streets better than any Robin. Jason understands how criminals think because he used to be one. He reads danger the way other people read traffic signs, but he's not a forensic mind. He's an instinct guy, not an analyst guy. Combat ability. Jason is a powerhouse. He hits harder, fights dirtier, and takes more punishment than any other Robin. Under Batman's training, Jason became a skilled martial artist, but after he came back as Red Hood, he added military tactics, firearms, explosives, urban combat, and guerrilla warfare. I feel like Jason always tried to mirror Bruce's hand-to-hand fighting ability like in Arkham Knight, but when he adds his weapon arsenal, he becomes maybe maybe the most unique fighter in the group. Leadership. Jason can lead when he has to. Outlaws, Task Force Z, small strike teams, but he's not a long-term strategist. He works best in small, brutal bursts. Jason leads from the front, not from the command room, and sometimes that burns relationships. Other Robins trust him, but not always with a plan. Moral code. Here's the biggest reason Jason struggles as Batman. Jason kills. Not always, not carelessly, but when he thinks it's justified, he pulls that trigger. Batman is built on the idea that the mission survives without crossing certain lines. Jason doesn't always care about lines, he cares about results, and rightfully so. The Joker killed this man. Relationship with Gotham. Jason understands Gotham dirt better than anyone. He's not afraid of it because he grew up in it. But Gotham's people don't look at him and see hope either. They see fear and violence. As Batman, Jason rules the night through intimidation, not inspiration. Psychological stability. Jason has grown tremendously as a character, but he carries a trauma that never fully leaves him in any version of his story. His death, the resurrection, and his anger at Bruce. The pressure to prove to himself and his peers that he's not the failed Robin. He's stable enough to be a hero, but Batman requires more than just stability. Jason still fights storms inside of his own head. Legacy impact. Jason has won the cowl in several Elseworlds and alternate futures, and almost all of them paint him the same way. A violent, heavier-handed, more brutal Batman who solves problems fast, but loses the soul of the symbol along the way. Jason is an incredible warrior and a brutal protector, but the Batman mantle is about more than protection. It's about restraint. Verdict on Jason? Jason Todd would make a terrifying Batman in both good and bad ways. He's the Batman you want in a war who ends threats permanently. The Batman criminals genuinely fear on sight, but he struggles with the one thing Batman can't lose: the balance between justice and vengeance. Jason is the Batman Gotham might deserve in its worst moments, but not the Batman it can sustain. In most books, Jason and Damian are portrayed as very similar versions of a more brutal Batman. Tim Drake. If Jason is the survivor and Damian was the prodigy, Tim Drake is the pure detective. Tim didn't become Robin through tragedy or destiny. He became Robin because he figured out Bruce Wayne as Batman completely on his own. That single moment defines everything that makes Tim a contender for the mantle. Detective skill. This is Tim's strongest category by far. He doesn't just investigate, he understands. He sees patterns, motives, emotional tells. He thinks like a strategist, a profiler, and an analyst all at once. If Batman is the world's greatest detective, Tim is the one who comes closest to matching that title, and Batman's given him the title before. Combat ability. Tim isn't the strongest fighter amongst the Robins, but he doesn't have to be. He's technical, efficient, resourceful, and he uses the environment, tech, and timing to outmaneuver people far stronger than him. While Jason and Damian overpower enemies, Tim outsmarts them mid-fight. That makes him extremely dangerous in the suit. Leadership. Tim is a natural stabilizer. He doesn't dominate a room, he calms it. As leader of Young Justice and co-leader of the Teen Titans, Tim proved he can handle crisis without losing control or making reckless choices. He communicates, plans, adapts just as good as any of the other Robins, and Tim might be the best manager of the Batman legacy, able to coordinate allies and navigate complicated situations without ego. Moral code. Tim's moral center is strong, consistent, and thoughtful. He believes in Batman's rule not because Bruce told him to, but because he understands why it matters. Tim isn't tempted by lethal shortcuts. He's confident enough in himself that he doesn't feel the need to prove anything by crossing lines. This makes him one of the most ethically stable candidates. Relationship with Gotham. People underestimate how important this category is. Gotham doesn't just fear Batman. Sometimes it relies on him. Tim has a subtle but real bond with Gotham civilians. He approaches them with empathy, not dominance, and he feels like more of a guardian than a tyrant of the night. If he ever wore the cowl permanently, Gotham would adjust to him faster than almost any other Robin. Psychological stability. He's introspective, aware of his own limits, and grounded in a way Bruce never was. He typically doesn't spiral or self-destruct, he stays centered. Out of all the Robins, Tim might be one least likely to break under the weight of the mantle. Legacy impact. Tim has worn the Batman suit in multiple alternate worlds, and almost every time his version of of Batman is calculated, methodical, even-tempered, effective. He becomes a guardian who relies on instinct and strategy more than intimidation. A lot of versions have him don the Batman Beyond suit, which makes up for his lack of combat skills, and this really helps with his candidate status on this list. Verdict on Tim. Tim Drake is the Batman who keeps the city steady. He isn't the flashiest, but he understands the purpose of Batman very well. Tim is the Batman who could keep Gotham stable. I think Tim is a better Batman than Jason or Damian.
Rule number 1, you give me everything you've got. Rule number 2, then you give me more.
And this brings us to the last Robin we're going to rank on this list, and I know there are tons of other Robins, but I'm trying to just look at Robins who typically grow into the Batman role at some point. Dick Grayson. If every Robin represents a different piece of Batman's legacy, Dick Grayson is the heart of it. The first partner, the first son, the first person Bruce ever trusted to share the mission outside of Alfred, and the first Robin to step into the role of Batman. Not as a substitute, not as a temporary fill-in, but as someone who made the mantle his own. Detective skill. Dick isn't the pure analyst that Tim is, or the instinctive profiler Bruce is, but he's the most balanced detective of the group. He follows leads with intuition, not obsession, and he reads people better than Bruce ever has. He understands emotional motives, not just criminal ones. Where Bruce breaks mysteries open with pressure, Dick cracks them open by understanding people. Combat ability. You could argue Dick is the most naturally gifted physical fighter in the entire Bat family. Acrobatics from childhood, martial arts from Batman, experience from the Titans and the Justice League. His movement is cleaner, faster, and more fluid than Bruce's. Where Bruce is a tank, Dick is a blade. He doesn't overpower opponents, he outmaneuvers them. But his punches aren't just quick, they're powerful too. In one of the most recent DC comics, in DC KO Night Fight, he actually beat Bruce in a fight where Bruce admits that Dick's become the better fighter as Batman. Leadership. This is where Dick separates himself from the pack. He doesn't just lead the Teen Titans and mentor younger heroes, he's led entire generations of Gotham's defenders. Every Robin looks up to him and every Bat family member trusts him. Even the Justice League respects Nightwing as a peer and a member. Bruce is a general-styled leader while Dick is a role model type leader, and Gotham feels the difference. Relationship with Gotham. Dick Grayson understands not just Gotham's people, but its fears. He knows Batman is supposed to be a symbol that terrifies criminals, and he never forgets to play that role. When Dick puts on the cowl, he can be just as intimidating, decisive, and relentless as Bruce. Gotham doesn't just fear Dick Grayson's Batman, they trust him. Civilians see a Batman who still strikes terror into the city's worst monsters, but doesn't feel like a shadow looming over the innocent. He maintains the fear where it matters and earns the respect elsewhere. This is a Batman that carries hope. Moral code. Dick's greatest strength is his compassion. He learned Batman's rules, but he also learned what those rules were supposed to represent. Dick doesn't default to fear, he defaults to hope. It doesn't make him soft, it makes him the kind of Batman people would actually want. Psychological stability. Bruce is shaped by trauma, Jason is haunted by it, Damian is defined by it, Tim studies it, but Dick Grayson grew past it. He is the only Robin who took the pain from the past and turned it into something healthy, grounded, and inspiring. Legacy impact. When Dick's put on the cowl before or after Bruce's apparent death, something unbelievable happened. Gotham didn't fall or burn, the city worked. For the first time in decades, Gotham had a Batman who could be a hope-inspired hero. But here's the part comic book fans know deep down. Dick Grayson is the only person Bruce Wayne has ever truly trusted to inherit the mantle, although he doesn't want him to. Verdict on Dick. Dick Grayson is more than a good Batman. He's a natural Batman. He brings everything Bruce taught him and removes everything that held Bruce back. He is the Batman who leads without fear, protects without cruelty, and carries the symbol without being crushed by it. And when we look at the full picture, the skill, the heart, the legacy, the leadership, you start to see something surprising. Something that almost makes Batman fans uncomfortable. Something this whole video has been building toward. Maybe Dick Grayson doesn't just make a great Batman, maybe he makes a better Batman than Bruce Wayne ever could. So, who is the best Batman? After breaking down every Robin, their strengths, their failures, and what they become when they step into the cowl, the answer becomes more clear than most fans want to admit. Jason Todd is the best Batman. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Jason has the fire, Damian has the training, and Tim has the mind. But Dick Grayson has something none of them have ever fully mastered, not even Bruce: balance. Bruce Wayne created Batman out of trauma. He built the symbol to fill the void left by his parents' deaths. And because of that, Batman became something heavy, violent, obsessive, necessary, but painful. Dick Grayson inherited the same mission, but not the same wound. When Dick becomes Batman, he carries the darkness without letting it consume him. He inspires without losing the edge, protects Gotham without punishing himself for it. He is the Batman who chooses the symbol, not the Batman who needs it to survive. And for the final ranking, I'll just say, from worst to best, I would go Jason, Damian, Tim, Dick. So that's my take, but now I want to hear yours. Who do you think makes the best Batman out of the Robins? Is it one of these on the list, or do you have a Robin goat who would make an awesome Batman? Like one of the females, or you've got Duke, or does anyone have any weird pulls? Any Carrie Kelly Batman fans out there? I don't know. I stuck with the Sons for this ranking because they're the ones who have become Batman before. But drop your rankings in the comments. If you're new here, this is the absolute bat. We break down the comics, the games, the movies, all of it. And if you want more, my next video is going to be me reacting to my high school Batman fan film. It's going to be an interesting time. Hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.